Today we're going to start working on this truck. This is a Ford L9000. It's an AREOMAX and it is what's called an LTLA, if I remember right. You can notice that the hood's a little bit longer, big engine underneath there, not a whole lot of engine stuffed underneath the cowl there. What we're doing to this truck is we're going to rip that flatbed off of it, strip everything off of the frame, and we're going to take this original road tractor and turn it into a double framed cabin chassis that's going to be upfitted later with something pretty cool. Not by us, by someone else. But regardless, you want to see how we do it, stick around. I'm JC Smith. I'll show you how I'm going to do it.
Well, we got all of the U-bolts, the bolts off, and the little plates. It was pretty tough. They were actually rusty, which we weren't expecting with a truck from South Carolina, but I guess humidity will do that as well. So we got all that off, and we can't move these by hand, obviously. They're very heavy and they're doubled up. So he's rigging something up to lift them with a grate all to get them off of here so we can get the bed off. So we'll see how that goes. Well, we got the frame rails in here. I tried the video, but we just really needed both of us, so there was no way I could do it. I had to stop. So, but it was uneventful. So. We're going to take the bed off outside, like I said, because we don't have enough clearance to lift it up high enough with the grate on without hitting the garage doors and stuff. And this will be easier. Then you won't have to worry at all about clearance or how he rigs it up and everything. So
Something's crooked on this truck. That side over there, you can see that hitch plate looks like it's welded on straight, but we have a bigger gap on this side than we do this side, so there may be something wrong with this frame.
well, that's one piece of the puzzle taken care of, so that's good. We're just going to set it aside and not put it in like a good place that it can stay for a while because it's snowy and nasty out. Well, we've gotten a lot of stuff off of the frame, and we have some of the wires and stuff and hoses fastened up out of the way. We're getting it cleared out. He's cutting off this hitch plate right now because we won't be able to get the axles out from under it. Even if he jacks it up, it's still, it hangs too low. So we have to cut that off. And then I think we're going to work on getting the axles out and all the cross members. Because I need to clean up the frame inside and out. And the less stuff that's in there, the easier it is. Plus we're putting the other frame rails on the outside and we can't have all the bolts in the way. Starting to puff.
I haven't cut the inside yet.
Oh, Okay, I was gonna say it's like slowly falling. Whew. Alrighty. So we got the intermediate drive shaft out, and then we just worked our way up and got the rest of them out. So we're making some progress.
So this is the end of day one on this project, and we're doing pretty good. We got all of the electric lines up and out of the way. The battery cables for that side are up. All the air lines are out of the way and tied up, and this side battery cables. Drive shafts are out, and all the holders are off the side of the frame. And we got this axle is just about ready to come out. We got the hitch plate cut off. These are not my normal torches. I don't have any in this shop. And as you can see, it's a little hard to adjust when the needle's not there. And it's just a little guy. So it kind of struggled with cutting that hitch plate off, but that's okay. We'll get it, not a big deal. Got a lot of rust jacking going on here and there. I think this truck originally was from Indiana, so, you know, equally in the salt belt. Probably could use some airbags. They're pretty rough. And I went to go take the shocks off the mounts on the frame, and they were kind of, the bushings were just worn out, and I thought, well, I'll see if we can just replace the bushings, if the shocks are okay, or what we're going to do. And when I did, I went to go take it loose, and the threaded end snapped off. It's supposed to look like this, so I just pressed it out. We'll get us another one. It's a Hendrickson suspension. Should be able to find that pretty easy. Going pretty well. This rear axle is completely unbolted and ready to come out. So tomorrow we'll start on this. We'll get this axle ready to come out. And right about the time it's ready, we will put some jack stands underneath the front, and we'll just take them out. And we can start cleaning up the frame. The battery box got to come off. All these cross members got to come out. There's a lot to do. I'm going to build something for the double frame to make it easier for us, because that is heavy for me and my wife to move around. One more thing that we probably need to address or do something with is, if you can see this, let me see if I can get you a little light here. There we go. Either the yoke or the spline shaft is worn out, or both. So that needs to be addressed. You can always tell when something's loose because it's got that rust stain around it. I've never seen a flywheel like this. It's got a balancer on it. That's interesting. That's like a Caterpillar looking, I think it looks like Caterpillar balancer on it. I've never seen that. Kind of interesting. U-joints are mediocre. I wouldn't say they're bad. I wouldn't say they're great, but don't really have to be replaced. So anyways, oh yeah, we got a nice tire over here. Thinking that thing might have drug at one point or had something hot right there. Kind of weird. Anyways, that's it for now. We'll pick up in the morning, and we have a lot to do. We still have to get the fuel tank off. it is cold out there. So this track bar, this is what locates the differential and keeps it centered, and there's one on the rear as well, but it is on that side. Well, these things, the bushings get worn because as the suspension travels this way, this bushing has to kind of move this way, and it makes it really hard to get the bolt or a socket on here. So sometimes it's easier to take that side loose, and then after it's loose, get this off. Well, we didn't move any farther forward, and this one hanger here just was kept touching that. But there's a fair amount of rust jacking on this frame. There's some pretty thin spots, so it's probably good it's getting double framed. You can see it looks pretty good behind the hangers. That's nice. A little bit here and there. So the next step is we're going to work on the track bar, and then we'll start taking these cross members out and get these battery boxes off. Keep on going. Remember when I videoed and said it looked like that bed was sitting crooked? Well, here is the culprit. You can see how long that has been bent like that. The paint is like rippled here and here, so it's been like that for quite some time, and there's no marks on it like it was recent. So we're gonna have to see if we can straighten that out and push it down. Otherwise it's gonna make it a little goofy, because it actually has the frame pulled just a little bit, has it pulled this way slightly. This side's okay. I think it'll be all right. Won't be a big deal. Once we get the double frame on, it'll be okay. But you know, just things you notice, things you see. And the front drive axle, was it? One of them drive axles has a pinion seal. It's out. Is it the rear drive? I can't remember now.
Yeah, it was back here.
The rear drive.
Swept, there was
Yeah, when we swept, there was a bunch of oil.
not a bunch, but
Well, enough to notice.
Yeah.
So. Frame's bent. See it come off? When we took the bottom out, we kicked out. Look how it doesn't touch the cross member here. It touches at the top. That's because this right here is pulling this up. Just pulling that in down there.
got it? Okay.
So we got to make a way to support the front end, and there's no good way, because we're going so far forward on this that I can't put anything underneath the frame to support it, because it's going to be in the way. So we're going to the shock mount. I'm going to remove the shock mount. I'm making these brackets to bolt in place of it, and it'll come down to the floor on either side, but the frame is in farther than the leaf spring, so I have to come down and kind of kick it out just a little bit. So it'll be interesting. Right, Leggy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Try and get it straight down as we can, if at all possible. This side needs to bend up. Needs to spread out. So these two need to be in the same plane. This is up more, so probably close. I think it needs to, let's see what it looks like. Well, let's see. We're not hitting the shock there, but we're hitting the turbo up here because we're too long. And I'd rather take it off the top. So we'll take this off the top here. Take that off, and I look fairly parallel here. I'm about a finger's width. I don't know. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be real close. Yeah, we'll see. So we're good here. I think when we weld this up here, I'm gonna weld this crappy stuff back together, and it'll pull this and hold it. And it'll also bring this out a little bit, then we'll refit it, and we'll check the bottom. I'd like this bottom leg to be as plumb as possible, if we can. So, I think we're pretty close. We can work with that. See how thick that is.
Careful.
This is the only way to really clean the frame up here. Ooh, bolts in there? Nope, that's pushing it. We don't have all these out yet because we're not taking them all. We're gonna take this one and this one out completely, but the cab cross member has to stay momentarily, and we'll just have to move it back and forth as we clean stuff, because I can't take that apart, because then there's nothing to hold the frame from moving about. Well, now that the cross members are out, you can really see how badly this frame is bent. I put a straight edge on it at this point right here. It's in 1 inch at the top and 1 3/8 at the bottom. So it's a significant bend for sure. But if you're going to have a bend in your frame, this is definitely one of the less critical places, because you know the rear drive axle hanger is here, and then the bend is afterwards. So your track bar is going to be shoved that way, which is kind of going to work on these bushings in the radius arms. And if I remember right, these were pretty loose too. But I don't know. It's not as critical as it would be if it was up there somewhere. So we're going to have to do something. I mean, the best thing to do would be take it to the frame shop and let them do their deal. You know, let them straighten this out. But we don't have that ability. We don't have that budget. So we're going to do the best we can. And I think what we're going to do is take 2 jack stands, put them underneath here with a nice heavy piece of steel that can support this flange and the outside all the way across. And then we're going to find out where is the last place it's straight on either side of this, and we'll put some reinforcement here down to here, and the same here to here. And then we're going to try a mechanical force to push this down. I don't want to use heat, because if I put heat on this, I will pull out a lot of the strength that's in that metal. So that's kind of what we got planned here. We'll have to see how it goes. You don't have to tear this down this far to double frame your truck. We're just taking advantage of the fact that everything is already unbolted. It's just a, you know, I don't know. I can't say a little bit more work. It's a lot more work to take all this out and clean it up and prime it and paint it. But in the big scheme of things, if you're this deep into it, you get a case of the Midas Wells. We'll get everything cleaned up, and preservation will be what our goal is. Just be prepared that, you know, you're going to find some things that maybe you hope you didn't on your frame. But it's a good thing that we're doing this to this truck, because just like this place right here, this doesn't look like it's that bad until you do this. Stop shaking frame. Get down the side of that thing, and then watch. See right there. Look how much my thumb is missing. So there's a lot of material missing here. There's a couple other spots that they're not that bad. But anyways, you saw us building some brackets, and I wanted to kind of explain a little bit about what we're doing here. These brackets are just old truck frame that I split with a plasma cutter, and all we did was take the shock mount, the original shock mount that was here. We took it loose, and I put that plate up there and then traced the holes through on the backside of our old truck frame, and then drilled them so we can get that plate parallel to the truck. And the purpose of this is I cut it because we have to get outside here, and I need to miss that shock mount right there. Didn't want to touch that. So we came out, and then we cut it again, and, you know, brought it back plumb as close as we could. And then I put a backer plate in here. You see that in here? Yeah. So I put a backer in there and weld it back together, and then put a foot on the bottom. Boy, the light's just awful. I put a foot on the bottom so it could sit on the floor, and that piece of angle shouldn't twist too much. Then I just ran a piece of C-channel across it to keep the two legs from spreading out. So the purpose of doing this was we need some support. I've got cribbing in the front that the front of the truck is sitting on, but we need to remove this leaf spring hanger. And when I do this, what I want to be able to do is remove this tire, unbolt everything, take the bottle jack, and just let that down just a little bit so this can swing out of the way. I got to be able to get this out of the way. Now we're going to have more support back here because this is not enough. This is so far forward. It'll take more support back here, which is why we need the temporary cross members. We're going to support on those. So when we take this out of here and we bring our double frame in, just so we're all aware, if you're a guy that's looking to do this, you have to be conscientious that there's some compromises you're going to have to make. Like this leaf spring hanger, it has a small shim back here. Not much, maybe an eighth. And we're going to take that loose. When we add our new material here, we're adding thickness to this face, and this face here. So in this situation, if you have any hangers or anything mounted to the frame that has bolts going through the side and the bottom, I'm going to exaggerate here what's going to happen, but just so you get an idea, is you're taking this from here, and you're not only moving it out, but you're moving it down. So now these holes and these holes, because this is bolted here, these are not going to line up anymore. They're going to have to be reamed out, compromised somehow. The good thing is most truck frames are punched, and if you ever look at them, you'll see, like in this one, this side right here, this is a larger hole on the outside and a smaller hole towards the inside, because when the punch goes through, whichever way they do it, which I think this one was done the other way, the one side makes, as they push through, it makes a really definitive, precise hole, and the back side kind of gets bigger. So when we do this, this is probably cast steel, I'm guessing. We take this apart, this hole I'm sure is going to be a 1/16 bigger than what the bolt is, pretty standard, and then the hole we'll be able to get probably another 1/16 without even trying. So we'll have an 1/8 inch right there. So we're probably gonna have to like ream these out just a skosh, but we'll see what it is when we get it apart, because this has to come off, this has to come off. We're double framing clear up into here, and we're cutting our double frame on an angle. I never stack my double frame straight up and down like this, because the compression load here that you put on top of the frame, as it pushes down, if you put it right here on your double frame, then there's nothing to support it, because you're actually making a place for it to bend over. If you saw how I was bending this, and I used that piece of C-channel, I was pushing on it, that's that same philosophy here, that same principle, that it gives it a place where it could bend or crack or break. So I like to go on an angle, you know, a 45 is nice, whatever, and that way when that compression load pushes, you have support underneath that, and it's spreading it farther. So it's less critical on that one spot. That's what I like to do. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of share with you where we're at, where we're going. The next thing I need to do in the next video is I'll start building brackets coming off of that can support the cab. We have to get this cab supported before I can take these mounts loose. I want to make sure it's not going anywhere. And but at the same time, those brackets got to be done in such a way they don't hinder us from doing the work. So we have a lot more to do. If you're guys looking to do this, I hope this gives you an insight as to just how much work it is. It's not difficult, it's just time consuming, at least to do it the way we do. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and we'll pick up on part 2 when we're probably making this and, you know, doing some more work to it. Thanks for watching.